Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we are talking Dynasty football. It's that time of year where a lot of people are starting to do startups. Maybe you're currently in dynasties and things like that, or you just kind of want to see how people are drafting these players. So we are talking Dynasty startups, 12-man leagues, and of course Superflex, and we are at the 101 position. Hopefully, this video gives you some insight of where players should go. Now, we're obviously not talking trades. There are a lot of trades that typically happen during a dynasty. So again, this is going to be straight through me using Sleeper, which is probably one of my favorite dynasty apps when it comes to fantasy football. So we're going to do this every single Monday. We're going to go through 101 to 112 to give you some insight for anybody who is doing a dynasty startup. Now, we're keeping it simple, full PPR, no tight end premium, but it is super flex. And of course, rookies are going to be left out because a lot of people typically do a startup without the rookies and do that after the NFL draft, which is perfectly fine. Now, if you're crazy, you might do some rookies in there as well, which makes things a little bit crazy, and it makes it fun at the same time because you're guessing and hoping that these players land in a good position to give you some value with this. So, with that said, we're going to jump right into this. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, have some fun watching. Now, as you guys can see here, I'm at the 101 position. Now, obviously, you're going to see down here all the different players that are going to grow. Now, remind you, this is a super flex, which means you should be quarterback heavy in the first few rounds. Some people might go wide receiver or running back, which is completely understandable because you're hoping, especially in this rookie class, that you can get a good quarterback in the rookie class, like a Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and so on and so forth. So maybe you take that risk in a startup where you go really into a premier playmaker like a CeeDee Lamb or a Bijan Robinson or something like that. So let's get this started. We're going to be at the 101. Now, with the 101, I am not going to risk it. I'm going to go Josh Allen. Really simple. Josh Allen obviously being, I think, number one in the past, almost every single year he's been playing. So I'm going to go Josh Allen. He is my number one when it comes to my dynasty rankings at quarterback anyways. Now, as you can see, quarterbacks are pretty heavy here. You do see Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. I have seen that in a few dynasty startups that I have joined recently. Again, it's not that common. You typically see quarterbacks pretty fast. Where I do see some changes, like Sam Laporta, that is going to be odd. You're not going to see typically a tight end this early in a draft, especially when you need to grab other typical players like running back or something like that, which is a little bit harder. Now, on the swing, I've got the next two picks. So I can go quarterback again, like a Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott. I can even grab some wide receivers because wide receivers are hard, but this is a very deep wide receiver class. So in a dynasty like this, I don't mind maybe missing out on a wide receiver if I need to, because there's some really good wide receivers in this 2024 class. So I'm going to go Kyler Murray, even though I'm a huge Dak Prescott fan. I'm going to go Kyler Murray for the upside with his rushing ability, and hopefully that he is going to stay healthy, and the Cardinals maybe grab Marvin Harrison Jr. We'll see how that plays out. Now look at this. I'm actually going to look at running backs if I can. Here I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor because he is a great running back. He's had some health concerns. I'm in hopes that he's going to be healthy. Now he's probably got 2 or 3 years left of his prime. So there's some risk there where I could have gone maybe a little bit younger, like Kyron Williams or something like that. But I like Jonathan Taylor. He seems to be a little bit more of a safer bet. That is why I'm going to take him here. Now, again, you're going to see some tight ends starting to go. You'll see some quarterbacks a little bit later. That's okay. Now, I'm not going to go tight end. You've got, obviously, Andrews. You got Higgins. You got some young wide receivers like Zay Flowers, Rice. So there are some really good depth here. Now, I have my two quarterbacks, so I'm kind of going to forget about that position. Now I'm going to focus on, obviously, running backs, tight ends, wide receivers are going to add some value. Now, we're not talking kickers or defense in this. You guys can always add that. Now, here, I'm actually going to go Rachaad White. I loved Rachaad White, what he did last season. Again, if he can continue what he did with Baker Mayfield in this Tampa Bay Bucks offense, I think he'll still be a solid wide receiver. Now, running back. Now, as far as the next position, I am going to go wide receiver because I need to fill that spot. T. Higgins is very tempting. I'm unsure what's going to happen with him because of this whole incident with, the trade possibility, his contract situation, things like that. So I'm going to go and grab Zay Flowers. I'm very high on Zay Flowers. I like where he's at. He's in a good offense. I love that they added Derrick Henry, which is going to help, again, allow him to have some opportunities down the field and to continue to grow his relationship with Lamar Jackson. I do think Lamar can make and help Zay Flowers become a top 15 wide receiver in the future. You can think I'm crazy, but that's where I'm at. Now, I'm curious looking at this. Again, we're going to kind of look at this. You see 4 wide receivers with team 7, and in team 4, you got 4 wide receivers, which is a little crazy, but not that crazy because, again, if you're able to get one of these premier quarterbacks in the rookie class, look at what they were able to stack on this team. Those are different strategies. There's nothing wrong with these types of strategies where, again, you're building your playmakers on the outside, have one solid quarterback like this guy has Joe Burrow in the computer. Now, this one's Fields. That's a little different because Fields right now currently is quarterback 2 for the Steelers, could end up being the quarterback 1. So looking at this, you've got players like DeAndre Swift, possibly, maybe Njoku, who I really love. I think he's been fantastic. Yeah, some of these, I would say, interesting running backs, a little bit older. Maybe they're not the premier running back, but I'm actually going to go Bryce Young only for this reason. If you're in a dynasty and you're the 101, sometimes in the rookie draft, you are now the opposite, which means I am now the 112 in my rookie draft, which means I am not getting a premier quarterback. So for me, I want a third quarterback for depth. I like what Bryce Young is going to, again, going into the season, I know he was kind of slept on because of what happened last season. That is not something that's going to continue. I think he's not a bust. I think he's going to do really well. I don't think he's quite as talented as CJ Stroud. If you guys have been following me, I love CJ Stroud, but I'll take Bryce Young here, especially since the fact that I probably won't get a quarterback at the 112 in the rookie draft. So now I've got to fill out the rest of this roster. I have 0 tight ends so far, but I could probably get a good tight end later on. I do want to fill out, obviously, my running back and wide receivers. I have 2 running backs right now, which is really good. I still don't mind grabbing some depth here at the running back position. I'm actually going to go Ramondre Stevenson. I know they added Antonio Gibson, so I do worry a little bit because what made Ramondre great was his pass catching ability. But there's not a lot of playmakers. So I think Gibson and Ramondre can play really well together for the New England Patriots. And they're going to have a rookie quarterback. That's the expectation, unless something crazy happens. So they're going to need to rely on the running game. I'll take Stevenson at this particular spot. Now, I'm going to go fill out my wide receivers. I like, obviously, wide receivers like Jameson Williams. I like Deontay Johnson, some players like that. I'm actually going to go Deontay because I think he's going to be heavily targeted. He's great route runner. He can get some separation, something that the Carolina Panthers did not have last season, and pairing him up with Bryce Young, I think is going to be a great play for me. So looking at the rest of this, I think I'm actually going to go tight end. I love Cole Kmet. I know the Chicago Bears added Gerald Everett. I love Everett, but Everett's not going to eat enough of Cole Kmet, and the fact that now they're going to have a potentially generationally talented quarterback, even though I think they should have kept Justin Fields. Caleb Williams should allow Cole Kmet to still succeed, especially with the receivers they have on the outside now with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. So I like Cole Kmet here. It's a risk that I'm willing to take because I can. Maybe at the 112, I can get Brock Bowers. I don't know if he'll fall that far in my rookie draft, but I'll still take Kmet here. Now, looking at the rest of this, I don't need any more quarterbacks. You got Geno still here. You got Russell Wilson, Derek Carr. A little bit aging quarterbacks. I get it. Dynasty, they kind of fall. I'm actually going to end up going and grab Chuba Hubbard. I'm a big Chuba Hubbard fan. I've been actually grabbing him in a lot of my dynasties. Currently, I've been trying to pick him up for some late seconds, so maybe some early thirds if people are willing to, because I do expect him to be the starter, even though Carolina did obviously pay Miles Sanders. I think this whole offense side loves Chuba. He's on his rookie contract at the end. He's got to prove it, so I'm going to take that. I'm actually going to grab Jacoby Myers here. Jacoby Myers actually did really well last season for the Las Vegas Raiders, and I think he'll continue to have that success this season, even though they've got to figure out their quarterback situation. They've got Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, who I actually like Gardner Minshew. I think he could end up being the guy, but I'll take Jacoby Myers here in this one. Now, going back into this, we start to see some of these players here. Now, this is all depth. These are not going to be your stars, right? These are not players you're going to be starting every single week, but might have some good matchups. So looking at these players, again, we're going to ignore the quarterback position. I'm going to start feeding up my wide receivers. So you got players like Mims, Demario Douglas, Rashid Shaheed, some really good players. Brandon Cooks for the Dallas Cowboys. So I like where they've got here. I'm actually going to go and take Jalen Hyatt. I like him a little bit more than Wan'Dale Robinson. So I'll take that player there. And I'm actually going to grab another tight end here. And for the tight end I'm going to grab is I'm going to take Cade Otton. I like Cade Otton. He has got a nice connection with Baker Mayfield towards the end of the last season. I think he'll have some better seasons ahead. So I like him here as a nice little backup tight end to Cole Kmet to kind of fill up my roster. Now, if you look at my roster here, I've got 3 more spots to fill. Again, this is all depth here. I've got my 3 quarterbacks. I've got some good running backs. So now I'm going to look at filling some more positions. As far as running backs go, there's really nothing here to grab. even though there's not a very good running back class. So I'm not going to actually grab anybody here. You could potentially grab Rico Dowdle, maybe Zeke if he reunites with the Dallas Cowboys, but I'm going to kind of forget that position. We'll go back into the wide receiver spot. Now, wide receivers, you've got Trey Palmer, who had some signs. I actually like Curtis Samuel here for the Buffalo Bills. Great signing, even though they have Khalil Shakir, who is a good wide receiver. Samuel might actually have even more value in this offense. So I'm going to take him there. And then as far as another wide receiver I'm looking at, I'm going to take Rondale Moore. I love Darnell Mooney, but until Rondale Moore got traded, Darnell Mooney's value kind of diminished a little bit. I thought Darnell Mooney was going to be great for this Atlanta Falcons offense, but I'm going to take Rondale Moore in this one just to kind of finish out my roster. So I like that spot. And then my last pick, looking at through all these players, maybe I'll add another quarterback here just to kind of fill out, give it a fourth quarterback, maybe to use as trade bait. So I'm actually going to end up going crazy, but I'm going Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is in a good position there. So I'll pick him as my last potential player to fill out this roster. So you guys could grade me how you want. Again, this is without trades. This is the 101, the one position I'm not crazy about. I'd rather be a little bit more in the middle, but this is where I've drafted these players. Let me know in the comments how you guys thought that went. All right, so that was my draft for the 101 position for a Dynasty startup. Let me know in the comments how you guys thought this draft went. Grade it A, B, C, D, F, whatever you think it might have been. If you guys are doing any Dynasty startups, or maybe you're doing trades, things like that, anything Dynasty content, ask me in the comments down below. I'd love to help you guys out with those questions. Again, make sure you guys are following. I'll be doing a mock draft every Monday through the 112 position. So to help you guys out with any Dynasty startups that you guys may be doing. Of course, stay tuned. Make sure you guys subscribe. We'll be doing a lot of Dynasty content coming up. We got rankings. We're going to be talking rookies. And of course, we'll be doing some rookie mock drafts as well. So make sure you guys stay tuned. And I'll check you guys out next time.